Welcome to La Conexion Caribe podcast. This is your host, V-Rod, coming to you live here this Saturday, October 24th, with the one and only, all the way from Cleveland, Ohio, my boy, my brother, Big Rob. Big Rob from Cleveland. What's up, Rob?
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Happy to be here as always, Vlad. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do this. Let's do this. So, we're going to forgive Danny. Gompy has some things to do, but definitely he wanted to be here. Next week, in a couple weeks, we're going to have also Mr. Parker, who's going to bring a little new insight into this whole thing. But definitely been a while since we've been back actually on live. We had done a couple other shows that
Yeah.
it's a little bit, but definitely excited about what's going on right now as far as the world of sports, also in the world of politics. A lot to talk about. We're trying to actually compact it for you, make it short and sweet, but definitely get to the points that most people want to talk about. And one of the things that we want to talk about right off the bat, the NBA Finals, right, in the bubble, Orlando. You have the Lakers against Miami Heat. Lakers and Heat, great series when it comes to basketball and sports. What I liked about the whole dynamic was that we actually forgot, or I actually forgot, there was actually no fans in the arena most of the time.
Yeah.
It kind of shows that the product that was actually on the court was a good one. Definitely, you could say, you know what, Lakers probably had a lot of the edge, but definitely Miami was not any pushover. They actually, Jimmy Butler, Adebayo, and Tyler Hero, everybody else, definitely gave up a good fight. I think LeBron, his uh,
Fourth title.
fourth title. It was his 10th NBA Finals, I believe. And definitely, I think that dominated, right? Dominated in the defensive end as well as the offensive end, age 35, to be able to go ahead and actually kind of lead his team. Of course, a lot of help from AD, but definitely a lot of help with KCP, a lot of help with, I know you told me about Caruso back in the
Hey,
day. The legend of Caruso
Caruso
showed
is no
up.
joke. Caruso is no joke.
Definitely showed up. So it's LeBron's fourth, right? People keep talking about the same issue, right? It could actually talk about it till the cows come home. Is LeBron better? Is LeBron better than Michael Jordan, right? My opinion, he needs at least one more to even be close for us to have that conversation as far as being great, as Jordan was. The difference with him and Jordan is the fact that um, you had a kind of mystique about Jordan, right? That when he stepped into the court, regardless, yes, he had Scottie Pippen, and he did have a couple shots, one from Paxson, one of the finals. We had one from Kerr and one of the
Yeah.
finals. But he was a gamer. He actually was going in there, no excuses, hardcore, different era, different game. I think he needs a couple more, at least one more to actually even get closer just because of the 10 NBA finals and the fact that for him to perform at his age as the level he's performing, I think that definitely warrants more of that attention. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah. Overall, to go back a little bit about the bubble itself. Yeah, like you said, the product on the floor was incredible. Like we had mentioned before, the given the fact that it was that type of platform, I guess. You had the rookies, you had the young kids, you had the bench guys play with no fear. You didn't have that home court advantage or being away and the pressures that come with that. So they put on a great show, and what that did, even including the Heat, it made me forget how good the Lakers were because we had all these teams. You had the Mavericks making noise. You had Denver, showing up. It kind of made you like those are teams that you didn't expect, and it made it exciting. And it kind of made you forget that how dominant the Lakers were, because I think they won like 4-1, 4-2 eventually in the finals,
Yeah.
and they were in all of those games, So my hat goes off to LeBron. I reserve the Jordan LeBron answer until I want to be fair to LeBron and wait till he finishes.
Yeah.
Personally, my favorite LeBron performances have actually come when he's lost. It came for me. One that stands out the most was in 2015 when he lost Kyrie, he lost Love, and it was just him and and Dellavedova going at it, and he took him to 6 games. So
Yeah.
um, as far as the team right now, I think I don't know if you saw, but I didn't see any drop off at all from LeBron as far as skills go. I saw him just as dominant scoring wise. He can lock in on defense when he wants to, and I can see him doing this at least for another 2 years before
I,
there's any like significant drop off. So it's scary. Every team is gonna get better, but those Lakers were just even defensively, they were just out of this world. And then there's no stopping LeBron. AD, you just hope he's off that day. That's all you can do against AD.
it's,
And
it, yeah. No,
yeah,
yeah, we could wrap up the what you were gonna say, but I had something to say after that, which I agree with you on that. I mean, AD, you said it right. You hope AD goes up. What I like about LeBron that I hadn't seen before, right? Or I had seen, probably I forget. We actually quick to forget
yeah,
performances and everything else. You mentioned the one where he lost. He lost basically two of his best players down the team when he won that time as far as that championship that they lost. I think that the fact that when Shaq and Kobe were actually doing their thing and they did repeat it, there was nobody on earth that could stop Shaq, right?
yeah.
He was a
Hmm.
force to be reckoned with. There was no, you could have said, you know what? Why are we playing these finals? Because nobody can
Yeah.
hold this guy, basically. And the fact that the LeBron brought it. I remember the Denver series. I remember I had a conversation with the guys before. I said, listen, I know actually Murray was going off in all the other series, right? He definitely went fed off a little bit out of Jokic, but then we was like, you know what was going to happen when Murray goes off? He scored at least 50 once or twice, 40
Hmm.
points, everything else. And he was, you know what, I got him, right? And after LeBron went ahead, basically lights off, right? Like everybody go home.
Yeah.
This is about a wrap. So when it comes to him being able to actually lock down, because he could score, right? He could score. He has help and everything, but how can you stop the other team from actually their best player from actually scoring?
Yeah.
And what I think it was Game 5. I picked the Lakers to go 6, right? I didn't believe it. I thought they were probably going to wrap it up way before that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I remember Game 5. For me, Game 5 was very telling to me because Butler had a great game, right? Butler had a great game, had a hell of a game. But for me, I thought, wow, it's going to take Butler to bring this performance
Yeah.
and actually go down to zero as far as drain the whole battery he has
Yep.
for actually have him win the game. I didn't think that I was actually going to be able to be sustained throughout
Hmm.
the next couple of games. And the difference when you have experience, you have a guy like LeBron that takes care of his body and is gonna know how to recuperate and bring it back the next day. You could see it by the way they played. For me, that was very telling. So you have to have those type of performances. Shows how good, like you said, how good the Lakers were in the actual bubble, which it was an even environment for everybody, right? Everybody
Yeah.
has the same thing. The Suns went 8-0, and they couldn't even make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
You had great performances uh, by the Mavs. Definitely, you had the big upset with the Clippers getting actually bumped off.
Huge upset. Yeah.
The Bucks getting bumped off. The
Celtics.
The Celtics they gave them a good series though. They did, but they couldn't actually. I think they need more body or more. They just need something else, something extra. Kemba Walker basically to show up. But not to get
Yeah.
back to away from that. I think AD has a lot of things yet to come in the future, and it's
Yeah.
you kind of know exactly who LeBron is going to actually pass the torch to, right? As
Yeah.
far as the Lakers and who's going to and big market. Definitely, they have the money to get the free agencies. I mean, the free agents. Um, I think Miami is going to be even better going forward
Oh yeah.
because there's a lot of young talent. Love Hero from
Huge fan of Hero since college. The dude, I like what I like about him is just he doesn't care. He has no fear. He doesn't fear the moment. He'll take the shot and he knows he can make it. And they got a lot of those. They got a lot of those on the Heat. They got a lot. We found out they got a lot of those type of players on the Mavericks as well. The
Yes.
Nuggets, are gonna the Nuggets are gonna be right back right there again next year. So, but to your point on AD, yeah, like the perfect comparison was Shaq in his prime. Like, there's nothing you can do against him. And then, like you said about LeBron, and we found that out. I remember when eh, when Thompson went out, and when Durant went out in Golden State series against the Raptors, and basically you had to count on Curry to, like you said, drain the battery night after night after night, and he couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. And I remember that happened. That's happened to Kawhi a couple of times. Uh, it just shows LeBron is on another level off the field. Even before you get on the field, like you say, just like preparation, taking care of your body, he's on another level than everybody else, and that's something to behold.
And it's to wrap up on that. I mean, I agree with almost everything you said. I think that for the people that don't like LeBron or hate LeBron, I was actually picturing what would be a league without LeBron. And when you see the talents just go, like we hated, I mean, I can say we hated Jordan. We hated Jordan with a
Yeah.
passion. All right. And Jordan is the best player ever lived as far as when it comes to basketball. And it transcended everything. And I could appreciate his game. I could have definitely appreciated he was probably in another conference or probably took more years off to give us at least a chance to win that title. But definitely, you're going to miss, when LeBron is gone, you're going to miss LeBron, because I think LeBron, it definitely brought another feel all the way from college, the expectation. A lot of people can't handle expectations. The
Mm-hmm.
expectation he had from college, I think he definitely, for all the expectation everybody else had or other people have had, I think definitely he lived up to most of it. I mean, you can't
Yeah, no,
live up
yeah,
to Jordan, but that he did.
yeah. He exceeded the expectations for sure.
Definitely. So football. So okay, Antonio Brown, Antonio Brown to the Tampa Bay Bucks with Tom Brady and company. Tom Brady already brought. I think he's actually kind of like cooking the meal. He's buying the groceries. He knows. He does not have that much time left. He
Yes.
knows he has to go all in. I think this is the Tampa Bay year. I said it, right? We had the Lightning that won the Stanley Cup. So congratulations to the Lightning. Congratulations to Tampa Bay fans.
Yeah.
We have the Tampa Bay Rays in the World Series. Definitely down 2-1. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But definitely the Bucks are in it. I like Bruce Arians, hard-nosed coach. This team had the difference that a quarterback makes, right? Jameis Winston had the kind of almost similar, almost the same team, and they couldn't actually perform based
Yeah.
on the fact that they kind of had all the pieces, but they needed a quarterback to be able to go ahead to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And even though, yes, Father Time is is catching up to Tom Brady, I think that they're in the best position right now, especially with this pickup from Antonio Brown, to definitely take it all the way, because I think the defense is coming alive, and I think the
Yeah.
offense is what they needed to actually go ahead and get more toys and get more of that route runners or people that he actually knows how to do things that's going to actually help him out. What is your thoughts on that, Rob?
I am excited for Tom Brady. I'm a huge after 2010 2011 I become a huge Tom Brady fan.
Yeah.
Of course, I just like Jordan, we hated him when the Giants went up against him, and luckily we won. But yeah, I'm excited for him, and I was wondering, aside from the obvious, aside from we know the time that the AB is an otherworldly talent. I was wondering what is it that draws Tom Brady to him so much, and it made me think of two things. One thing I read that in the practices that he did have with the Patriots, the coaches at one point told Tom Brady to stop throwing the ball deep to Antonio Brown, because they were
Mm.
connecting on absolutely everything. So they both fell in love on just on the field, on their vibe together, their route running, everything was perfect with them. So uh, obviously in this, given the situation that Brady was in last year, he absolutely fell in love with that. And then I thought about what happened the last time until they ran into the Giants. What happened the
Yes,
last time
yes,
Brady had,
yes, yes.
what was
I
it
know
that
where you're
happened the
going.
last time Brady had that type of talent on the field with him? When
Yes.
he had Randy Moss with him. And obviously, perfect season until they ran up to the New York Football Giants.
The
Um,
best.
so, like, Brady still has his arm. He still has the mental aspect to it. He's still taking care of himself. It's going to be insane. And I was watching some preseason tape because everybody was talking about Evans. Everybody was talking about Godwin, their tight end and stuff like that. But I remember watching a clip of Brady, running the scrimmages, and I saw this kid that was really really fast, and he just kept like going in and out of like the camera. I'm like that, like I'm like why isn't nobody talking like who's that? Because like to me it looked like maybe one of like maybe he was from like the practice squad or something like that. Like who is that kid that nobody's talking about? And it turned out to be Scotty Miller, who
Mm-hmm.
runs like lightning, and it's gonna be that deep ball threat that you're not going to be able to double AB. So given that and all the other, like Brady cannot ask for more weapons to throw to. The running game is actually decent. You got Fournette, you got McCoy, you got anybody that you could want on the running game. As long as the defense holds up, which it's a Todd Bowles run defense, they're going to be looking good, and it's going to be scary.
I think I like it. I like it just because of a lot of things that you said. I think that, and you actually took the words out of my mouth. He has had the Wes Workers of the world. The what's the other slot receiver? Julian Edelman, right? So he's had those type of players, but you cannot compare those type of players to the Randy Mosses or Antonio Browns of the world.
Yeah.
Yes, you say, okay, you know what? Antonio Browns comes with baggage, right? Antonio Browns has had over the last year, right? Year or so, maybe 2 years, getting out of Pittsburgh, has had certain issues, kind of actually getting, playing football is not an issue, right? It's just a thing to come after that. But I think that when you Tom Brady comes with, he's a leader at the same time, right? He's not just pretty boy Tom, right? He's a Super Bowl champion, and people actually look up to him and kind of a little bit like a Peyton Manning type of thing. And that's why you had a lot of similarities with them too when they went head to head to each other.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to be able to actually be able to put Antonio Brown in the best position possible, in a good position when it comes to game time. And I think that you already have, like you said, you have Evans, Godwin, you have the running game, you have all the other things and everything else. I think that with Antonio Brown, that's when you really actually, if you actually thought about Brady with a Super Bowl, right, before Antonio Brown actually came along, definitely now it's going to be even more serious. You cannot tell exactly what their mindset is. If they're all in. They're all in on this. You saw how they just took care of the Green Bay Packers. They came in with Aaron Rodgers. That game flipped in a second.
Yeah.
And there was no turning back. I think based on the NFC East, I'm not sure who you think is a threat for them in the NFC East. I mean, I'm not in the NFC in the NFC conference actually, for them to actually not make it, or who they have to get by to make it to the Super Bowl.
It looks like we're about to find out. I think the thing, if I'm not mistaken, their next game is against the Saints.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, you could double check that for me.
Individual rival too.
Yeah.
So mm-hmm.
I think that's their main threat. Just because the defense is pretty darn good. Pittsburgh is another one you have to worry about. You always have to worry about Pittsburgh. They're surprising right now because I didn't expect them to be this good defensively. They're going to be well coached.
Yes.
Roethlisberger is doing just a great job of finding the guys that he needs at the right time. I think this season I put mostly on Tomlin. It's just the good coaching. When you have a good coach, you're always going to be in it, and I just didn't expect him to be this good. But overall, like you said, when you put AB in that lineup with all those weapons already, it makes everybody else's life easier. It makes the defense's life hell because you literally have to worry about everybody. When you got guys like Evans and Godwin already, that both of them they're both double team worthy, right?
Yeah.
You have Scotty Miller deep ball threat like crazy. You throw AB in that situation, is like what do you do? And you could always throw it to Gronk if everything else falls apart. But that's a headache that I would not want as a defensive coordinator preparing for that team.
Yeah, it's like pick your poison, basically.
Yeah,
You know who you want not to beat you. I know they're going to go against the Raiders. This coming Sunday. I know
okay.
the Saints are facing. Let me see right here. The Saints are facing the let me see Packers. Saints are the Panthers. So Saints are facing the Panthers. Saints are 3-2. Definitely a good game there. I know Tennessee and Pittsburgh undefeated, so that's going to be a good matchup. Tennessee coaching tree from Belichick. You have Rabel there doing his thing, basically. Tannehill, different, right? Coming from Miami to
Yeah,
Tennessee, looks great. Got a great running game. Tampa Bay, yes, it's definitely the Saints. You got Seattle. That's a threat also to 5-0, right? As far as the NFC,
yeah,
and Chicago. I don't think Chicago that much. They've had some good games tonight, but I don't think they actually have played anybody really, really good to be able to.
yeah. They, they,
Yeah,
they seem to have just gotten by. They could use that Foles magic. It's only going to take you so long. Once you start facing the good teams, it's going to be a different story, I think.
yeah. So I mean, definitely, like I say I love the pickup. I talked about it early in the year, beginning of the year, because I had seen that Brady was actually lobbying for him to come down. But I think it's more of a PR move that they did to actually have things quiet down, right?
I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah, because it was a lot of stuff going on. So Brady said, you know what? Brady actually went ahead, did his thing, got all his stuff kind of all his ducks kind of lined up, and now you see the team house performing, and now it's kind of like a no-brainer or a no-doubter to actually
Yeah,
have him come over because it's a one-year deal, right? So now you have to commit to him, and it's an opportunity for Antonio Brown to set himself up, if he wants to continue playing for the next couple of years based on his
yeah,
performance with Brady, and it could be something kind of like, you know what, if Brady gets to win one without Belichick, I think he probably will come back to win another one because the team's stacked up like it is right now, Tampa
yeah,
Bay.
yeah, yeah.
You cannot miss on that opportunity whatsoever. So that's on football. It's exciting to see. Football Sundays tomorrow, so we're gonna see a lot of great games happening. Next for us, I think uh, the World Series. Right, we talked about a Tampa Bay year. I talked about Tampa Bay year. Uh,
Yeah.
Tampa Bay they're down 2-1. And Morton actually got hit last night. Hadn't seen that in a while because he's been a big game pitcher
Yeah.
since he was in Houston, right? So that was a little bit. I don't think it was for me. I don't think it was surprising because the Dodgers have a great veteran actually team. So you have Mookie Betts, right, champion. You have all the other
Yeah.
people there. You have Cody Bellinger, everybody else. They have a lot of great kind of role players.
Yeah.
They step up when they need to. But I think Tampa Bay have been really, really good responding to losses over the course of the year. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree completely. It was more like the first two games that you saw the Dodgers completely dominate game one. It was like a no-brainer. It was a laugh towards the end of it. But then they came back strong in game two. Game three was just, you know, it was surprising, yeah, to see Morton give up that many runs or not pitch as good as you'd expect. But uh, Walker Bueller was just out of his mind, and he's usually out of his mind when it comes to the pitching. So, good pitching is always going to win, and I don't put that so much. Like the Rays have nothing to be upset about, to be embarrassed about. That was just really, really, really good pitching. That Bueller stuff is just insane, and it's just about getting their opportunities. And I think as long as the game is close, the Rays got a really, really, really good chance. I love Arozarena, is that his name?
There's around, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's insane. He's batting his ass off. But yeah, I think the Rays are eh, could take the next game, can take the series as long as they know they have enough pitching and they have enough hitting to bounce back from a game like last night.
Yeah, they have enough pitching, and I think that they have enough character. You mentioned Rosarena, uh, Cuban, right? He actually was in the St. Louis organization by way of came to the States by way of Mexico. Kind of reminded me of you and me because he actually was locked in with COVID for like a month and a half. Could have come out and everything. So what he did, he used to do 300 push-ups. He did rice and beans every day, and he had 300 push-ups every day. So he actually packed up 15 pounds of just muscle,
Oh
right?
wow!
The other day they were asking him who is his best or his favorite Cuban player, and he said myself, right? So he, so he has so he
I
is
love it. I love
yeah. So they don't lack confidence that bunch, right? They're ready. I think they're ready for the task. They have a lot of great life arms, right? They have an amazing bullpen. But I think that tonight's going to be interesting. I think they play tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I think that they'll respond well against the Dodgers. And it's going to be a great series. I think they're going to have some openers now. We got Urias that actually pitched great last time, kind of shoved them down. I think it was probably game one that against Tampa Bay. And we have Yarborough for Tampa Bay as well. This kind of a tactic that Tampa Bay has done before as far as the openers. Kind of actually started that as far as implemented that in the league. They always are known for even the shifters and everything as far as, data, scientific, shifts and all that. But definitely so far, I think baseball has done their job as well. When it comes to the actual product on the field, Tampa Bay has been solid all year. The Dodgers have been solid all year. So that the teams that are supposed to be in the World Series are in the World Series.
Yeah.
I like the fact that there are some fans on the stands, right? Social distancing is still there. Kind of weird because they had some fans among the cardboard cutouts too. So it felt that everybody was there, but then you didn't know who was actually the fan and who was the cardboard cutout until they moved around or something like that. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a great series. I think this series might go 6. Don't be surprised if it goes 7, right? I think the more baseball, even the better.
Yeah.
Because I like, yeah. Go ahead.
I think, I see it going 7 just because both teams are that good. They both teams are strong when it comes to pitching. The Dodgers, I would give them a slight. I mean, I don't know if I want to say slight edge, but I think they have an edge on the hitting part. But that's why it was surprising. I expected. I think when you have really good hitting and really good pitching usually has the edge on that. So I was surprised to see Morton perform the way he did. But it's going to be a lot of exciting baseball. I like that even though it was a shorter season, like you said, the best team still came out on top. So that didn't affect the quality of the competition, the quality of the games, and the teams themselves. So I don't know. I am rooting for Tampa just because the Brady effect that seems to give life to.
You shared that the other day.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, something happens. So.
Yeah, like everybody around him wins. Every team though, and I still don't want Dave Roberts to win. As you know, we have a personal beef with him that lies deep.
Had
in
a
our
bounty
hearts.
on Dave Roberts.
Yeah, he thinks
I've had one since 2004.
Exactly, 2004. He thinks he stole second base. No, he stole our hearts, and that is something that will not.
He hasn't given back. He has not given back. He probably shaved his face and everything, but I know who he is.
Exactly.
I know he looks. I know what you know. What's the funny thing about Dave Roberts? He looks younger than he did back in the day.
He did.
He had a Benjamin Button. He had a Benjamin Button. He actually is ready. I think he could be ready to play right away.
He looks like he could get in there if they need him to.
He looks great. He looks great. But like you said, the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers don't want to be the Buffalo Bills, right? The modern Buffalo Bills. So I think I definitely am rooting for Tampa Bay because we want to see kind of that new team, somebody
Yeah.
different. Um, as a Yankee fan, we might not like it next year to kind of hear about it, but now that we don't have, we don't have skin in the game, and we could just sit back and enjoy the game. I think that it would be great for baseball overall to have that kind of small market team with great talent, a lot of great job as far as the front office scouts and everything else. Be putting that type of talent on the field,
Yeah.
and have and not be like 2008 was great and they had a lot of good talent, but it was, I think they were probably a little overwhelmed back then, that team that they were in the World Series.
It was a young
Uh,
team. Yeah. Yeah.
it was a young team, but this team, I don't think it has the bats that team had, but I think it has the pitching that team did not have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's definitely, like you said, pitching is important. I don't know who was the one. Somebody said it. I mean, your momentum is as good as your next, your next day pitcher or your next
Yeah.
starting
Yeah.
pitcher,
The next starting pitcher.
and the Dodgers definitely proved that last night with a 6-2 victory over Tampa Bay. So definitely excited to see what's going on for tonight. And as far as that, um, so and before we even got to go further, and going a little back to Brady, how bad do you think Brady wants to win a championship
Well, I
without
mean,
Belichick?
you can tell just by the AB pickup, he does not care of the baggage, the allegations that came with it, whatever he might do to the locker room. That like, he didn't even care about what Bruce. Your theory aside, which could very well be true, he didn't care what Bruce Arians was saying about AB not being a good fit or them being good without him or whatever the case was. Brady wants to win. Brady, I mean, he's gonna have that mentality regardless of the situation. He's always gonna want to win it all. But when you have the opportunity to really try to up your chances and cement that, and you can get a pickup like AB, you do it no matter what. All the risks that come with it, you take it. If, because he knows he's 43 years old. So he's always been about winning. So absolutely, he's all in.
Well, I think yeah, I think definitely wants to win one without Belichick. Opposite, like I said before, Belichick wants to definitely do one without him. It's gonna be kind of hard at the way they're playing.
Yeah.
And even though Cam Newton, you could probably say any day of the week is more athletic than Brady. I think Brady has a lot over Cam Newton, and I think that he has a more complete team. I don't think right now he's worried about a popularity contest. He's just worried about winning, right? So whatever it's going to take to win, what the direction he's going to go into. Like you said, 43 years old. I mean, he's definitely more talented than me because I'm 41. I'm not even half. I'm not even half good as that. He don't even have as good looking as him either. He has a lot of things going for him that I don't. But definitely, I think that it'll be great to see because then there'll be another conversation added to that layer. Was it Belichick or was it Brady? Right?
I think touching on what you said, like yes, without a doubt, we all know Cam Newton is athletically, physically superior than Brady. But you don't even have to go that far. I mean, that touches on what is Belichick going to be able to do with him. But you take last week's game, and you have Aaron Rodgers, which, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, is a better talent, physically, football wise, when it comes to like athletically, than
Yeah.
Brady. And you look what happened there because the difference with Brady, and we've seen this a million times. We definitely saw it in the Super Bowl against Atlanta. You could be down, in Brady's case, 21 points, 28 points, whatever the case was, and his mindset is still 100% in the game.
Yeah.
With Rodgers, you saw the difference. That as soon as it started going south, you saw the morale go down, and you've seen that year after year after year. You've seen Rodgers is always there's always been an excuse with Rodgers as to why he hasn't you know uh, made a deep run every single time or won more championships. With Brady,
Great
you don't
point.
feel that way. Yeah, it's like he at least he believes. I don't know if you've seen the mic'd up of the Atlanta Super Bowl, but you can tell there the guy is his heart is in it, his mind is in it. He has the skill set. He has all the skills that he needs. You know, he's not gonna blow you out. You know, he's not gonna blow you away athletically or physically, but he has what he needs and he makes the most out of it. And you can't say you can't. It's sad that you can't say that for people like Aaron Rodgers, people like Cam Newton, who have superior physical talent but don't have that what Brady has.
I think that you brought a great point with Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers by far, Aaron Rodgers is like if Brady and Brett Favre and then Tony Romo got together, had a whole bunch of kids, like had one kid, and that'd be
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, right? And when somebody had Brady, I don't know who had him, somebody had him, but greatness is greatness wherever you go, and greatness actually makes everybody else better. That's what greatness is, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's to be able to actually get the talent around you. You know, everybody's an NFL player, right? So they have to have some type of talent to be in the league. But when you have a guy like Brady that has done this consistently over the years, and it's always the same expectation, I think he's like a little more domesticated Paul O'Neill when it comes to attitude, with the Joe Montana type of grit,
Yeah.
and I think that it's what I say it's Super Bowl or bust when it comes to that. I mean, that's one of the things that a lot of small market teams don't have, kind of that expectation. That you know what, we're here to win the game, right? We're here to win the Super Bowl. So it's gonna be interesting, rooting for them to actually make it happen. Want to see that happen. Want to see Brady get another championship, get another Super Bowl ring, and so we could get into another conversation of who it was. Was it Brady? Was it Belichick? AB company, great defense, style balls. I think it's gonna be great on that. But definitely going to another subject that we have a week. We only have, what is it? It's next Tuesday, right? November 3rd, elections here in the United States. The United States. One of the biggest, or probably the biggest and more important elections that we've seen in years. Less important was because of the effect that it had was not really more important, but kind of yes, because we were in the recession with Obama took over. So a couple things happened there. First black president.
Yeah.
Recession happening, right? Country was trying to get back on its feet. So we have now 2020, we have COVID, right? We has hurt the economy. 210,000 lives lost, American lives lost so far. They're saying that now coming again in the colder months is going to go ramp up again. I think that first of all, I did vote already, so I actually like what the way it happened. I did the mail-in ballot, but I did not mail it in. I actually talked to one of my friends from work, Mr. Joe Kelly. He said, "Vlad, you better hand that sucker in, Vlad. Do not put that in the mail. No,
absolutely, yeah.
Hand that sucker in." So I did. Well, this is what I like. Because I mean, we talked about it over half of the year, right? This is what I like. Because I always like to try to actually put a positive spin. I like the fact that we're in a country that you're able to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I like that we were to have a difference of opinion, because that only makes us actually grow, and actually be able to understand each other. I said it the other day, we were texting back and forth. I think a lot of people are doing a lot of talking, but not a lot of listening. So I was dropping my ballot off. I had a few folks, probably a little crowd of 10. It was almost till the end of the actual evening, almost 7:00. They closed at the library that's around my house, closed at 7. So I went in there. I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and hand in my ballot. So we had a few people there, probably 10 deep, and we had Biden, posting flags or whatever, right? We had Trump also there. I live in Florida, which is majority, Trump territory.
Yeah.
I like the fact that everybody was very civil. Everybody was on point as far as everybody was greeting each other, encourage people to vote. I think that we've come a long way as far as being a little more um, uh, intelligent when it comes to actually doing who we actually are voting for. I don't think there should be a, even though there it will be always, there should be a wrong person because we all have different priorities and different things that affect each other, right? So
Yeah.
there's not a right choice or wrong choice. It just depends what is your need, right? What are you trying to do? Who you're trying to vote for, and what that person is going to do to you. I know you mentioned a few people. I know you mentioned 50 Cent, Ice Cube had supported. They came out supporting Trump. I know The Rock, J Lo, Ray Rod has some support for Biden, and people are actually doing their support all over as far as who they go for. I think that for me personally, of course, for me, I think based on what's going on, um, led towards towards Biden than Trump, because for me, I just think that with COVID and everything else, I think just like we could do for quarterbacks, right? When quarterbacks win, they're gonna actually take the win, and when they lose, they gotta accept the losses too.
Hmm.
So when it comes to leadership, and you being a leader, I'm being a leader in my workplace. You can't say yes to the wins and then dust off or push off the losses to somebody else when it's under you. So I
Yeah.
think when it comes to leadership, when I see that and see all the other stuff, I think that it doesn't rub me the wrong, it rubs me the wrong way. I know he has done a lot of great things, even for the Black community, and has passed a few other bills here and there. But just for me, as far as I think there is time for me for a change when it comes to that. I think a lot of people in the Republican Party over the last few months, I've seen a lot of things, want some change. So there are people that like Trump, and that based on their situation, he does great things for them. He does actually answer whatever it is the needs they want and priorities they want. So, but I like the fact that I was able to walk down, got greeted nicely by everybody. Everybody was say, you know what, go vote. Good luck and everything else. So I think that's the thing that I like about what was happening. And at the end
Yeah.
of the day, whatever the result is, we all be able to live with it. Because at the end, we're the United States, not the divided states. Let's
Yeah.
have the conversations. Let's hear each other out, and let's learn from each other going forward. What's your take?
No, I agree. I actually went to try to vote today. Um, and like I guess similar to Florida, I did see that there was a designated spot to drop off your ballot box, which I definitely recommend instead of
Yeah.
mailing. I mean, aside from especially a ballot box, I wouldn't mail anything at all
No.
of any type of importance. But it was cool. We drove down there. We drove with the kids, and we expected there to be a line, and but we didn't expect the line to be as long as it was as it was when we saw. It went around the entire um, not even the block. It skipped over streets and then made another tail end, and it was kind of cold to be standing out there for with the kids at that time. But we decided we're going to just go ahead and go down there on Tuesday, this Tuesday coming up, just to vote early and avoid it being worse on election day itself. But it was cool because on the ride over there, yeah, my wife was reading a book to the kids about like it was a kids book about voting and about like how the process works, what is the United States, how we go about that. So and the kids were into it. They were asking questions. They were excited about it, and
Nice.
they were actually excited to go vote once they actually understood more or less what it was. And then we had to vote on where to go eat next. So we worked that process out democratically, and eventually ended up going to McDonald's because it was a three against two vote on the Happy Meals.
Oh gosh.
But
Okay.
that's democracy, like you said. Sometimes you're gonna vote and it's not gonna go your way. Sometimes it is. Um,
Well, you went together, which is
yeah,
good.
exactly. We all ate together. We all partook in that democratic decision. And like you said, here too in Ohio, it's they call it a purple state, a state, a swing state, but it's mostly leans Republican, mostly leans red. And for me, I don't think anybody did a great job on COVID overall because I'm realistic about it. It was a new thing. It was something unexpected, and everybody worked as we learned more, we adjusted and we did that. But when it came, to be honest, to when I saw the comparison, when I saw, for example, and I'm not saying that Trump did a great job, but the decisions he made early on, for example, he said, let's start, let's ban at least partial travel from China, right? He did that on January 31st. Joe Biden, who is the one running against him, was calling Trump racist and xenophobic for that decision all the way up to April 4th. So we're talking about end of January, February, March, April, 3 months that, let's say, if it would have been Joe Biden, the one under, in charge when COVID hit, we're talking about a 3 month delay to cut off the main source of that virus. So on that alone, not to get in too much into it, on that alone, when it comes to the COVID situation, it steers me towards Trump. We mentioned the celebrities that recently came out in support of Trump. I did watch the A-Rod and J-Lo thing that they did. I watched that on Instagram. I watched the Rocks thing. The reason I mentioned to you the Ice Cube and 50 Cent thing before was that you expect the A-Rod, you expect the Rock. You don't expect the 50 Cent and Ice Cube being, coming out towards Trump, because statistically and historically, the black vote usually goes to the Democrats. I think it's been like 96 or 90%, 97%. So that kind of stands out as to there's some different message being delivered that's attracting, like you said, their personal interests. Because if you make a lot of money and you have one guy wanting to take more of that money and the other guy wanting to take less, a lot of the other issues aren't going to matter to you, because you want to keep as much money, and rightfully you want to keep as much money as you've earned. So, but then as well, luckily, yeah, like we've had good experiences, but we do know that there is tension in the country when it comes to stating who you vote for or stating your opinion, period. And for them to come out that way is actually a bold and brave move, because they're gonna catch hell for that. Just like anybody who and personally, I've been called a roach due to my political opinions. Both were people, yeah, because they've I think it was John Leguizamo, ironically, had an interview with Bill Maher, I believe it was, and he was and Bill Maher, I think it was Bill Maher, was saying like, hey, like, there's been like an uptick in minority support for Trump and things like that, especially Hispanic support for Trump. And his line was like, oh, Latinos for Trump are like roaches for Raid. So a lot of people have grabbed onto that. And you can kind of give Leguizamo a pass in saying that, just because he's Hispanic himself.
He's a comedian, though.
He's a comedian. He's Hispanic, so you kind of give him a pass. But a lot of people have grabbed that and taken that. And I just dislike the fact that, to me, that's racism. That's racism in a nutshell. That you think certain things about somebody, or you believe they should do certain things based on the color of their skin. You believe, okay, black guy, he has to vote Democratic, he has to vote for Biden, and that's simply not the case. I think that's disrespectful to the integrity of a person, the uniqueness of a person, to think that, even like Biden said himself. He said on the show when he was interviewed by Charlemagne the God in the Breakfast Club, he said that if you have trouble figuring out if you're for me or for Trump, you ain't black. Like, dude, like that's racism in a nutshell. Black people have their own minds. They're individuals. They have their own wants, needs, views on things, support for things, and like it's an individual thing. I hate the wanting to put everybody in a box and wanting to keep everybody there, and whoever gets out of that box gets chastised by society. I think it's just not a good thing for this country, and I hope that changes.
No, I hear that. I think that based on my opinion, based on what I've seen. I'm observing a lot of things, and I actually had a lot of conversation with you, Lenny, and everybody else when it comes to partisanship. When it comes to the issues, I mean, you have your issues that you're passionate about. I know a lot of people have a lot of issues with the racism comes about. You have the economy. You have small businesses being hurt. You have the COVID, which has affected many countries across the globe. But definitely, we have more deaths than anybody else that's at all as far as you know the world. So what I think is when it comes to I did mention the fact of the right to vote, right? The having that type of democracy, that type of right to be able to choose who you want to lead your country. I think the fact that yes, Trump definitely actually did great as far as banning travel from China. I think that when it comes to we choose people for a certain reason, right? If you're a musician, you choose the guy that plays the piano because he knows how to play the piano and so forth, so on and so forth. The singer needs to know how to sing. So when it comes to the president, you don't choose him to make jokes. You don't choose him to actually play down things. You choose him to lead, especially if you're actually one of the strongest nations or the strongest nation in the whole world. So when it comes to COVID, and we do have intelligence, right? We do have intelligence. I mean, we could actually find out somebody's doing nuclear warheads and all that stuff, which we actually spend most of our time, other people's business instead of actually investing that money in here. Because really, who's going to war and for what? But I think that when it comes to that, if I know, for example, that there's something that is dangerous, very, very dangerous, and I play it down and it affects you, your family, then you're gonna look at me and say, wait a minute, why didn't you actually be clear about how devastating this was? And I think that's what a lot of people have a problem with. And yes, he had COVID. He came out, great and everything else, but not everybody is the president of the United States and has the resources that he has. And I think that when it comes to the science, when it comes to, and not really, for me, his taxes, I do not care. I don't care because that's not my money. I do care because taxes are done to actually fix roads, bridges, and everything else for the country. And when you have the president of the United States proudly investing in the country less than anybody else, and goes on the fact that, you know what, he just hires people to save more in taxes. I can't live in a house, let's say, for example, in this house, and actually be the leader of this house and import the minimum in this house, because I just want to get by on it. So I have a problem with that part.
Uh,
I
uh,
also,
real quick, just two questions. One on that, but first of
yeah,
all, the point I made earlier about Biden would have had a 3-month delay before he agreed that banning China, the travel from China, was the right move. He criticized it when as soon as Trump did it. He said it took him 3 months to say, okay, yeah, that was the right move. So that's the guy that's running against Trump. That's the other choice. The guy that had a 3-month delay on blocking where the virus was coming from, or the guy that did it the 3 months earlier. Like just on COVID, just on simple math or logic, I would want to go with the guy that did it first, not the guy that it would have taken 3 months to do that. On the point about, I believe you're referencing the Bob Woodward tapes, that there was nothing new that came out of the tape. I can send you the footage of the post conference he had around that same time where he's saying the exact same thing in the press conference. He's saying like, no, like I'm, because they asked him like, why are you being positive or whatever, or like why are you um, the reporter was questioning his tone, and Trump in the press conference, not in a secretly recorded tape, he was saying, no, like I want to be positive. I want to keep everybody's spirits up. I want to be hopeful. I want to give everybody hope and not give them, not like drown them in fear. So there wasn't anything different as far as actions that he took that he was holding back from anybody else. Because like I mentioned, the first thing there was one case in the United States when he blocked travel from China. One case, right? Biden would have done that 3 months later. Trump did it right away. ¿Tú me entiendes? So when it comes to that, it's hard to argue that Biden's the guy that you want in charge at that time. When it comes to the taxes, one that's not concrete reporting, because the source of the whoever said that he paid only $750 in taxes, which would make no sense just because of the businesses he owns. So he's paying millions more in taxes than you and I by far, just on one company that he may own. Just because, why? Because there's workers under those companies. There's personal workers under that pay taxes as well. So when it comes to contributing to the country, like you said, somebody who owns businesses and employs millions of people who then pay taxes, and he pays taxes both on those businesses, he pays the corporate taxes, and he pays his personal taxes as well. And like you said in the debate, and it caught a few people off guard, but since I've been watching, I think there was an interview by Mark Cuban, there was an interview by Mr. Wonderful. All those, when you have money like that and you have own a lot of businesses, you do prepaid taxes. You calculate your taxes beforehand, like a year prior, and you pay those up front before your estimated taxes that you, because due to the amount of workers you have, the amount of product you're bringing in, your inventory, you pay taxes on those beforehand. So when it comes to that, the part I agree with you the most is that that's not my money. That's his taxes.
Yeah.
And if I had the guys that he has, I'm rejecting the argument that factually that he's paying less than the average Joe like you and I do. But I'm also rejecting the fact that if I had a way, if I had access to his accountant, yeah, I'm using that. If I can legally keep as much as my own money as possible, I'm 100% for that, because like you said, yes, we do need to pay taxes for the roads, for construction, for our safety overall, the things we need, and have a good, decent safety net for low income people who can't do it on their own. Yes, but we don't need that taxes to be that high in order to do that, because I mean I don't want to go way too much into the history of taxes, but taxes isn't exactly like an ancient thing that we've always been doing. So when it comes to that, I'm in favor of anybody who makes their own money keeping as much as their own money as possible.
Yeah, I think that what I hear your points, right? As far as the whole logistic and how taxes are, we're not, like I said, we're not gonna get too deep into it. What I think for me is really not that complicated, right? If I'm a president, right, or I have any job to do a background check, right? You're going to a job to do a background check, see what did you have, there's any criminal history, what have you, blah blah blah, because you have before they actually, because you represent, right, something important, something higher. And when you are, for the last 4 years, right, if I ask you for the taxes right now, then it'll be probably different. But for the last 4 years, you're saying that you're going to release your tax and you haven't done so. I don't think it's that difficult. You're talking about 4 years of taxes, or previous, you're not giving it up. So when you have that length of a time, there has to be something there, or else you have done that already. If I'm paying, for me, I'm paying more taxes with Trump going on now than I did ever before. So it's my thing as far as, you know what, if I'm paying more taxes than you, if that is the truth, right? Because even that he's paying more millions of taxes is also it's speculation on both sides, right? Whatever I could say, the true story is when you release your taxes as a public official, right? Because you're representing the public, you can't have any conflict of interest anywhere else. Then it should be easy for you to be able to have that transparency, to be able to show exactly that what you say that you said, right? That you prepaid. If you did things, then show it. It's simple. Show it. Because if you're not showing it, you're still speculating. And if you delayed it for 4 years, delaying something that would be so easy for you to do, then that's what people call into question when it comes to if Biden. Well, Biden is not the president. You know, when Biden gets elected president, or if Biden was president, we go ahead and we'll give him all the shit, right? We're going to give him all the responsibility.
No, but not on the taxes, Vlad. I was talking about
COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah,
his decision on COVID.
On COVID, but Biden's not the president.
Trump but exactly. But you want the guy that would have been 3 months late, is what you're telling me.
One thing.
You saw the game, for example. It's like you saw the game, and you're like, okay, this guy made this play, this crucial play, 3 quarters or 3 months before the other guy did. But I want the other guy. I want the guy that said no. I would have done this 3 months later.
I just think that we play a game 4 quarters, right? If we're playing basketball, we're playing the 4 quarters. You know, even though you actually play something in the first quarter or whatever, you still have to play all the other parts. Like you said before, a lot of people didn't know exactly how big or how impactful this thing was. A lot of those people is us, right? Because we're not scientists. We don't have the resources to actually send people out just what we do, and we have people hitting everywhere to find out things. We don't have that. They do. We're supposed to be the smartest country in the world. Then we should have those resources, and we should be actually always ahead of the game when it comes to that. Sorry
to figure out, but that's the point though, where you have 2 people. Joe is not a regular guy like you and I. Joe just got off being a vice president for 8 years. He just got off being in the Senate for 47 years. So this is not like somebody, and he's literally been through other diseases that he's had to he was involved in managing, and that's the guy that said, "Oh, a virus is coming from China." One guy said, "Block China." One guy said, "No, it's okay. Let's block China." I'm okay with blocking China 3 months after the guy the guy already did it.
Yeah, a lot of people did. A lot of people were look like, in part of my language, look like idiots, right? A lot of people were idiots, and you're gonna have idiots, and you have politicians playing politics, right? You have a lot of, you're gonna have all that stuff.
Yeah.
My thing is that at the seat, with the resources, with his staff, with his people, is Donald Trump. Biden could scream whatever from the sidelines. He's not there, right? I know somebody that is there that has the power, because Biden could say the opposite and still he doesn't have the power. Biden can say how a lot of other things he still doesn't have the power, but he's not the president of the United States. But Donald Trump is.
That's the scary, right? You're talking about the guy that wants the power, got it wrong. The guy that wants the power was 3 months late. And like I said, he's not a regular guy that doesn't know the workings, that doesn't have the connections with the scientists, that doesn't have the background in preparing for a pandemic, in speaking to people, the connections he has. He handled the H1N1 virus. He's knowledgeable, and he has access to the information. He said no. He was 3 months behind the game.
I think, and sorry to interrupt, Brad. I think that when it comes to, I think it's almost like kind of like reading the Bible, right? Somebody says something, and what I said before, and actually, I think they, even in the debate that happened, I think probably they took my idea. I said, when somebody interrupts, you just got you cut their mic off and let the other person talk. Yeah. What people want to interpret things differently and spin it however they want it. It could be right, it could be wrong. It's however you see it. I think that when I believe in common sense, but I feel as far as respecting it. And I think that with everything that's going on, yes, you're going to have obstacles. Yes, you're going to have things like that, unfortunately, because a lot of people have died. A lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people are going to have pre-existing conditions. A lot of people are still wanting to actually got other agendas and everything, things that they want happen. You're going to have all that. I just think it's the character that you actually deal with these things, and the transparency that you deal with these things is very important. Is for me is that when it comes to the virus, It's not a country, it's the virus, it's the government, not the citizens, right? When it comes to China, it's not calling it the Kung flu, right? It's not being disrespectful because people around the world are dealing with this, and a lot of people have died from this. So nobody's asking you as a president to be funny when people in your own country are dying about it, dying because of it. Yes, Biden could have been, but you're still not taking it seriously. You're always promising that this is going to, contrary from what people are really telling you in your ear, right? Because people are telling you in your ear, this is not realistic. This is not going to happen. The vaccine is not going to happen this soon. Corona is not going to go this fast. And you're actually feeding people other information that's contrary for them to better protect themselves and actually do things when it comes to, yes, by Easter it's going to be done, or by summer it's going to be done, by this is going to be done. The vaccine, well, by the end of the year is going to be done. It's not.
No, he hasn't been promising the vaccine from Easter. No, he said things will get better by Easter.
Yeah, by Easter. But I'm saying, what I'm saying is that the rhetoric or the continuing of baseless information.
No, and respectfully, and not to cut you off, but there's contrary information on both sides. For example, Fauci himself and the CDC themselves said early on, masks are stupid. Forget about the mask. Don't worry about the mask. That's what Fauci, the lead guy that Democrats love now, and that Trump himself put up there first and foremost, was saying masks. No, like you're gonna be fidgeting around with it. You're gonna forget about it. Don't do the mask. The CDC said also, no, don't do the mask. The Surgeon General of the United States went ahead and said, no, the mask, please stop with the mask stuff. All of a sudden now, it's no, please, masks. Put masks on. So Trump is going by the information being given at that time. That information, unfortunately, because for example, Biden, his latest thing was like, trust the scientists. Okay, if we trust the scientists, we're going to be going back and forth because scientists don't agree on certain things. Like for example, even the mask itself. Me personally, and I'm not a scientist, I'm just like a logical. I test things, I study them, I see whether they work or not. They make no sense, like unless, for example, when I don't know if you've seen the movie Outbreak or the movies on zombies.
Never watched it, but Ebola and all that stuff, a little bit, yes.
Have you seen the scenes where there's a virus involved, right? And they're testing, they're doing tests, whatever. How are the people, you see them in hazmat suits. You see them with oxygen and everything, things around, going in to deal with whatever virus or testing, whatever. A mask is supposed to protect us from that. A mask that we're breathing through. So if we're breathing through, it means the air is coming in and out. And it's not like the mask is completely covering our faces, because one, we wouldn't breathe without that. But that's the only way that the virus, if you have it, would be contained. So it doesn't do anything. So when it comes to the science behind it, there's nothing consistent to go by. But one, like I said, it's a new virus, so everybody's figuring out as they go along. But there hasn't been a set thing where the science says something and Trump has done the opposite. Because, and like I said, based on the actions taken, I agree with you 100% about the rhetoric. No argument there at all. And I agree with that when it comes to Trump. I agree with that on all other issues aside from COVID. The rhetoric is he's not a politician. He's a New York guy. He talks without thinking, and he says whatever he has to say. But actions matter more than the rhetoric. Actions will always matter more than words. We all know that. So and again, I go back to the prime example, because Fauci and other scientists said themselves that by Trump cutting off the thing from China that early, they saved hundreds of thousands of lives. Those 100,000s of lives matter more than whether he tells a stupid kung flu joke, which not to defend him, but he said that after China came back, said, and tried to blame the U.S. military for starting the virus. Just to give you a brief timeline on that. But
in that, go ahead, Rara. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
But basically the actions matter for me when it comes to Trump. I deal with the stupid rhetoric, which comes far too often, because the actions and the outcome outweigh that for me.
I just think that, like, I hear your point. I just think that it's been a change in that position, because that position had came with a little more prestige that it has now. Regardless of the fact, there's a type of representation that you have from people, especially in the conservative party, as far as how representing the values and everything else. And when it comes to jokes, rhetoric, and everything else, there's value attached to all those things, because as much as um, you people want to talk and everything else, there's still a responsibility to inform the country, and prepare your country to be in a good position to handle with everything that comes away. I think that when it comes to my problem with all that is, even when the Dr. Fauci, he even said it, as far as even at that time, the masks were needed. And just like the toilet paper, people went in and bought a whole bunch of stuff because it was, I don't know, probably toilet paper was preventing you from not running out of taking shits or whatever, but the masks were flying off the shelves. And in fact, you know what, instead of you wearing the mask, the people that are actually dealing with these actual people are the one that need the mask.
But
But
say
even
that. My thing with that, real like,
he
just say
said that.
that.
He
No,
said that.
no,
He said that.
no. Say that from the beginning. Say
He,
that.
yeah,
Don't lie to me, which is a huge problem. Don't lie to me and say masks don't work, and then your excuse be, oh no, I only said that to save the supply of masks. You just lied to me. Like, why should I go by what you say? If you initially,
it's
also, two parts, you lied to me, and then you're telling me that other people's lives are more important than mine, that they should have masks, but I shouldn't. Those are two
it,
things I can't go along with.
and that's the thing. And with me, I think when it comes to, like I said, prestige, honor, and the way people behave themselves, not everybody's the same, right? If I have a problem, an issue with you, I'll tell you right away. This is my issue with you, blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell you because I care about it and everything. And then at the end of the day, we're going to have disagreements. But there might be this we don't get along, right? At the end of the day, it's love. And then we're going to find a way to actually work things out and see how we can actually get to the next level. When you have people around you, and he said it, right, in the last debate, he said, of course, he was advised, because the first debate was like terrible. The way he
Yeah.
did it, it was terrible. And I imagine myself, this is in public. I imagine who has a chance in private, right? This is in public. Who has a chance in private with this guy to actually knocking sense into him as far as what they actually presenting? And when you have people like Fauci for weeks on weeks on weeks on weeks advising you and actually putting up with you and doing the job, that's actually his job. When it comes to politics, you want to go ahead and dump all your stuff into him, when at the end of the day, you call the shots. At the end of the day, you're the ones that are going to make the decision regardless. You don't have one scientist, you have many scientists. You have the other one, Ms. Burke. You had her up there as well. So you have people, and he said, Joe, neither you and I wouldn't know what to do, right, when that happens, as far as how to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest from the beginning. If you're honest from the beginning, you said about lying. If you're honest from the beginning,
What was he dishonest about, Larry?
as far as that, this is not a big thing. It's gonna go away. We have it under control. You don't have
but
it
but
under control.
but again, that goes with the, we don't know what's going, like, we didn't know how bad it was. Like, a lot of scientists, even ones from China, was saying that it was going to go away by the summer. Fauci himself said the warm weather is gonna. So he's going by that. And he's going by the Fauci's, by the Bergs. He's going by that advice. The reason lately is that he basically threw Fauci under the bus is because Fauci's been wrong on a lot of those things. So that's why. And again, when it comes to rhetoric, when it comes to mannerism, he did it completely the wrong way. But when you have a guy like I told you, like I said, if you're a trusted scientist and you're telling me not to do something, and then you say, oh no, you should do it, and the reason I didn't tell you was because I wanted to save masks because other people needed it. I'm like, and I'm the average Joe. I'm the average Joe in America. Like, hearing this, I'm like, what about me? Like, what about my life? Didn't my life matter enough back then for me to go ahead and do the right thing and put my mask on.
That's one thing I think is important, because for me, I wear a mask, and this is where the importance is, as far as, and the reason why America is so divided. Corona doesn't like the Democrats, and it doesn't like Republicans. Corona just like a specific, right, a acute type of immune system to be able to take over and conquer and defeat. And here we are getting two different informations, or two different ideas and thoughts on how to protect ourselves, right? That's the problem when there's so much information, and instead of actually going from the actual person that says, let's say, for example, if I say, Robert, why are you not wearing a mask? You say, you know what, I'm going to cite this because X, Y, Z, so said this, and then I believe, you know what, it's not, it doesn't work. Then I say, okay, bang. But it's like I said, I mentioned the good things about what's going on as far as the vote. The sad part about it is everything is being politicized. I think that whoever's on the helm right now, it's just like, the Giants lose all the time. Who said you fire the coach, right? So our coach right now is Donald Trump, and so far it's not going that well. So at the end of the day, Donald Trump got elected because of politicians. He was something different. He was something unique. He called the shot how it is. He thinks so that rubbed a lot of people the right way, because you know what? We're tired of hearing the same thing with other people here and so forth. So this is going to be different. At the end of the day, it's not that different for me. It's not that different. It's even worse, because here we have dealt with something, and at the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left, it's when he decides to actually change the whole dynamic, act presidential, being more subtle, listening, actually getting all the things. You can't do that in the fourth quarter. It's like a boxing fight. It's like a boxing fight where when you're losing the fight and you're trying to rob rounds. You take away rounds at the end, throwing punches, when whoever just judging the fight is seeing the entire fight. He's seeing the entire 4 years.
It's the outcome.
That's my turn.
No, I don't disagree with a lot of it, but when it comes to the fourth quarter thing, that's when it counts, and we all know that.
If you're Eli Manning,
exactly.
Who else? Am I running the game?
We know Eli can stink it up for 3 quarters, but come the fourth quarter, the game is close. We're winning it.
But why he died on the Eli?
Hey, Plaxico shot himself, so little wiggle room there.
There was.
Pero no, like I agree, and I hate the fact that science has been politicized. I don't think that helps anybody at all.
Yeah.
The fact that science itself has been politicized. When it comes to Trump overall, as far as judging, letting the fourth quarter expire and judging to see if who you fire, who you want to replace, or what your options are, I see that again touching. Well, let's go before COVID. Black unemployment and Black economic success was at an all-time high, both for Blacks, both for Latinos, as well as for women. That's something I've never been seen before. The funding for exclusively Black colleges, higher than ever before. Prison reform, not done under presidents that you'd expect would act on that. The economy, again, the economy overall through the roof. I don't know exactly your tax situation. I paid less in taxes under Trump's plan. I think a lot of that has to do with where we live.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a plus on my end. 50 Cent also agrees on that end. He doesn't want to be 20 Cent. So so there's that. Foreign policy, hard to knock Trump on foreign policy. The things you're seeing, I think it was yesterday that was just announced. Sudan came in into peace accords with Israel. Supposedly Saudi Arabia is in. That I voted for Trump. That's not something I expected to see on the list. That all you read was the opposite, because I don't blame people for thinking that because of Trump's rhetoric, because of his style, he was just going to cause chaos when it comes to foreign policy and wars and stuff like that. But you're seeing the complete opposite of that. I mean, the accords for when it comes to Israel and the other countries surrounding that has been just insane. Um, and again, when you bring it down to COVID, I don't want the guy that was that would have been 3 months late on the decision and caused hundred thousands of more deaths. And on top of that, I also, well, we didn't, I don't know how much time we have to or want to touch on that, but I don't want the guy that's going to keep the country locked down much longer, given the current science on both sides that we have when it comes to the virus itself and when it comes to how much is hurting, like suicides are up, domestic violence is up, depression is up, and just the job losses overall are through the roof because of all the businesses that have had to shut down. Everybody, losing their business, losing their jobs. I don't want a lot more of that, which is what you're gonna get with Joe. And finally, I don't know if you saw the last debate. I don't care about all the other scandals with Hunter Biden and anything else going on. In my opinion, and even hardcore Democrats, when Joe said, and I can't make any promises because it's an election and you never know, but when Joe said that he wants to end oil or transition away from oil, I think he lost the election right then and there. Because already he's been trying to walk it back, but as soon as he said that, even Trump was surprised, and everybody that I know, both on left and the right, were like, "What the fuck?" like why the hell would you say that? As soon as he said that, I think he lost the election, and we'll see what happens.
All right, so parting thoughts, Robert. Parting thoughts,
Yeah.
and then I'll give you mine. I know you just finished talking, but
Yeah.
I know you want to go first, and then I'll give you my thoughts on everything when it comes to election. With I know we spoke the sports part. What message you want to give everybody else?
My messages would be actions speak louder than words. I understand people don't like Trump. I gave you a quick rundown of it, but even like the abortion issue is hugely important to me. I don't care if you have great manners. I don't care if you talk well, if you have such like an honorable, decent disposition. If you're for abortion, I can't vote for you. Like that like you're upfront, your character, your the image basically doesn't do nothing for me if that's what that's what you're gonna push for. I prefer the guy that talks out of his ass many times, gives it to you straight like it is. Most often than not, because we're talking about lying, but we're talking about talking about politics here. At least Trump, you know what he said as soon as he said it. You know what I'm saying? With almost all politicians, including Biden, because he's been caught, especially on that fracking lie. Um, I trust the brute that's gonna give it to me straight, and that holds the positions that he holds. Particularly now that I think on Tuesday, the Judge Barrett is about to get confirmed. That to me, Vlad, is historic. I know, I definitely know you don't agree on the issue, but for me, for the opportunity for Roe v. Wade to be overturned is monumental. Monumental. I don't know if you've seen the Kanye out of all, which has been mind blowing for me. Kanye has been a huge advocate of that. He pointed out it's been 22 million Black lives since Roe v. Wade. So he's excited about that hopefully coming to an end. So it's things like that where actions mean more to me than the guy that looks like he talks nice, looks like he's controlled, poised, presidential, that might do worse things.
Oh, well said. Well said. I mean, I respect everybody's position and opinion, right? Because at the end of the day, that's your right. A lot of people don't have that right in other countries. We do. I think the fact that we have the right to vote and the right to actually look at our situation, our values, our beliefs, and able to actually have a decision on who you want and have that right, I think is what makes everything great. When it comes to me, I tell you just a little bit. I drive down from work, probably like a half a mile, there's always a little section, this little corner on this intersection where there's Black Lives Matters on one side and there's uh, Trump supporters on the other side. And I always found it very amusing or amazing, seeing all this thing, because there's a lot of energy behind these two sides. There've been certain beeps here and there. I see cops there all the time. And one of the times I actually was driving by, and I put my window down, kind of to hear exactly what was being said. I heard one gentleman say, and they were shouting against the other people, "We want our country back." And I was driving, I was thinking, like, "We want our country back." What does that mean? When did we lose our country? When do you give it away, right? So when it comes to everything that's going on, we're the United States. If you're Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, you were born in this country, you have the right to express yourself, express your beliefs. I don't think that in order to be able to get rid of racism, which is definitely existing, we need to actually know how to us behave and what we say, because there's actually kids watching us act, watching us say, watching us not care about the other person, watching us speak out of our asses. And what they're gonna do, just like we were seeing a lot of movies, Jackie Robinson movie and everything else, it starts with the parenting. It starts at home. How you educate your kids on how to be able to coexist with anybody, regardless of race, gender, religion, and everything else. And that's the thing that I think we've lost so far on both sides, because people felt, it's like Mike Tyson said, people are now these days talk a lot of stuff on social media, talk a lot of shit on social media because they can't get punched in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, a lot of people think they have that right and have no remorse or no feeling about the fellow American that might be of different creed and color. Hopefully, regardless who it is, Trump, Biden, that we have somebody that's really going to fix the issue of COVID, the issue of inequality and racism, women included, better pay, 82 cents per dollar. We actually, I had a thing I had to do on diversity. We had a diversity council at my job. And when I started looking, women started voting. This is the 19th Amendment. I believe it was 1920 or 1910, if I'm not mistaken. Women wanted the right to vote. A lot of people weren't comfortable with that. They could call women lunatics and maniacs to be able to actually kind of turn down that right. They were able to fight and get that right. A lot of people want to feel like they have the right to be equal, like they have the right to not be scared. I even thought about, even though you're not speeding or you're not doing anything wrong, every time you pass around a cop when you're driving, you look at the speed and then you look back to see if he's going to follow you for some reason. Because at the end of the day, you probably feel guilty because probably you never know, right? And a lot of people feel that way. But at the same token, I think in the minority communities, we need to be a little more smart and not think that everything is racism. Steve Nash got a job as coach of the Nets, and Damian Lillard came out the other day and said, it's not about because it's white. He's a two-time NBA champion, and definitely knowledgeable of the game, right? So even though there's no coaching experience, there's no scrub that's coming in to actually go ahead and coach that team.
Yeah.
So the fact of the in whole, go out, vote, make a difference, have a conversation, get to know people. Let's make America really great again. Now is when you really want to say America great again, because right now America is not great at all. 500 kids without their parents. A lot of things going on that we need to fix. we need to do a better job representing the world, but definitely we got to start representing our own citizens here in the United States. So, like all the time, it's been always a pleasure with you sitting
Always,
down here, having a good time, talking important stuff, having a lot of fun, but also learning at the same time. Wish you well and the family, the kids, and thank you for always being here, sharing this platform to bring some entertainment and so also some information and insight in that time that we
absolutely.
need the most. All right.
Absolutely, it's definitely been fun, bro. So it's always a pleasure, and it's always like these, like what you say. I think we embody what we both want from this country, and I know it's harder for most people because obviously we're brothers. We have that connection, we have that love, but this is how it should be. You know, this is how we both learn from each other. We both talk. We both can grow, and we both want good both for each other and both for this country. That's how it should be. So it's definitely always fun. It's definitely always fun talking sports. We know we live and breathe sports. That's how we were raised.
That's right.
And
That's right.
yeah, it's always a good time, bro.
All right, man. So thank you for watching our show. Thank you for listening. On behalf of Rob, it's your boy V-Rod. Till next time, God bless. Go out and vote. Take care, man. Love you, bro. Thank you.
Love you too. Peace.
Peace.